Sports fans, get ready for Sportz-USA. Get sports from a personal point of view from seasoned professionals who've reported and lived the stories. Now let's go to the crew high atop the Sportz-USA press box.
Well, welcome back to Sportz-USA, everybody. This is episode number 19. We are excited, got a lot of things to talk about today. Joining me from the great state of Colorado, although I understand you're going to be moving to Wisconsin soon, is Coach K. We got Lee Baker out in West Texas, I believe, out in the Amarillo area. Kevin, who is a new resident of Florida. Kevin Long out in Florida. So we are excited to have that. We're hoping to get Bo Carter in, who will be in the Dallas area when he gets in. But guys, let's jump right in. I think the most pressing thing that we have to get done, because Coach K has missed a couple of weeks, we got to give him time to crow about his Oklahoma Sooners.
Well, I think it's a classic case, and I wish Bo were on here because he could add to it as well, of a team catching fire at the right time. I mean, the fact, I can relate to it very easily with the state runner-up team. We were a 500 team all year long. And then when it came to tournament time, all of a sudden, everything came together and everything clicked.
There's Bo
And
now.
we were able to push it all the way through, beat teams that had hammered us earlier in the year, kind of like OU did. And so it's a classic case of a team getting hot when it counted. I mean, the fact you could look at a lot of things, pro sports, same thing. Seasons are long and it's slow to develop, how injuries play into it, a lot of it, but, super proud of them.
Well,
For a team that wasn't ranked at the start of the season, they were outside the top 25, to come and do what they did. I think it speaks merit to the coaching staff there. And the players, because they really brought it was a young team.
it really did.
Four pitchers.
And I'll tell you
freshmen,
something, Coach, and Bo, you might chime in. It was very reminiscent to me of that Ole Miss team a couple years back that struggled all year, barely made the tournament. I think they were the last team to make the tournament, and then they wind up winning the whole thing. Was that 2024 that they did that?
Yeah, 2022, I think.
2022, but you know
Mississippi
exactly
State and
what
Ole
I'm
Miss
talking
won
about.
back-to-back years. So
Yeah, very, very reminiscent of that team that during the year didn't do all that well, but like you said, Coach K, put it all together at the right time, got hot at the right time, and just did it all. And so I had to give you a moment to crow. OU
love my Sooners.
the big national championship in college baseball this year. Let's turn our attention real quick. I don't want to talk a lot about it, but the World Cup obviously has taken over the whole world, and it's pretty exciting. I have to admit, the games have been very entertaining. I was very disappointed in the last game for the U.S. I don't think I've been on here since we had that loss. But short of that, I know Spain just defeated France in the semifinals, so they'll be going to the finals, hoping to get back a World Cup victory for Spain. And then tomorrow night, we've got the big Argentina-England game. You guys been intrigued with the World Cup? Watched it? Don't care? What's going on in your world with it?
Watched a little bit.
I'm not a big soccer fan. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I watch a little of it, but since I've been packing for 2 weeks, most of my TVs are in boxes.
How about
I
you,
think
Lee?
Kevin can probably relate to that.
Well,
So-
Coach, I'll tell you what, I never realized just how tough it is to move from one place to another because I haven't done it in 21 years. But it's unbelievable when you've got to go through literally every possession you have, and you've got to say, am I ever going to use this again?
I call
Nah.
it gut check.
I've been doing that for 2 weeks. A lot of trips to Goodwill.
Gut
Yeah.
check time. Gut check time.
Coach,
Lee, did you have something to say about the
did
World
you
Cup?
know Enos Seymour very well?
Yeah, I met him several times. I mean, he came and scouted some of my players and stuff. So, and he came right after I left OU. So Jack Bear was the head baseball coach when I was there.
Because
So
the year I was at the Daily Oklahoman, which was 79-80, Enos was the head coach, and I know he was a long-time coach. He'd been there a long time.
yeah, he really elevated the program. He kind of brought on, like, I hate to say it, but Jack Bear was the equipment manager for the OU football team and head baseball coach. So kind of a
Jack of
add-on
all
job, I
trades.
guess. And primary function, because every morning as baseball players, we had to go over and do football laundry as part of our scholarship. So
My, how
he
times have
really
changed.
elevated the program, brought it into the big time, and made it respectable again. So a lot of respect for the man. He did a great job there.
Yep. Lee, you were going to say something about the World Cup.
No, I'm just saying I watch a lot of it. I just got a text from my friend who played professional soccer. He's watched every hour of every game, every minute of every game, recorded them all. I said, you're really a glutton for punishment. And but there's at least one person that I know who has watched every minute of every game. Amazing.
It is
That
good.
takes
Bo, do you have
perseverance.
anything to add?
Yeah, the best part about it's been the fans. I mean, remember they've taken over Houston and Dallas, and they brought the Dutch party bus over.
Yeah. Well, it's really given America a great boost in the world's view. That's for sure.
It has been interesting to listen to the visitors talk about America and their perception of it.
Yes.
From the food to things like we take for granted air conditioning. It's really been amazing to listen to their perspective on what it's like to be here. So
It's been beautiful, I think. It's
makes
been
you feel good about
absolutely
us.
beautiful. So, well, cool. Well, let's turn our attention now. We've got the All Star Game in baseball about to happen. I believe that's tonight. And we had the Home Run Derby with a different twist on it last night. Did anybody get a chance to watch that?
No, I
No,
Busy
it was
packing.
interesting because it was on Netflix only. You could only watch it on Netflix, which I think is probably going to really drop the ratings, probably. But it was very exciting. They found that they didn't like the timing feature. You know how they were giving each person a certain amount of time to hit as many home runs as they could. And the players were kind of complaining about that because it was stretching things out and getting too tiring for them. And so they went to, rather than having this thing where they had outs before, if you got so many outs, you were done, they went to a total pure 20 swings. You get 20 swings and however
Now
many
that's the
home
way I
runs you
remember
hit
the old
in that
days.
round.
That's the old days.
Yeah, yeah. And so it was actually pretty good. The two Philadelphia guys, Schwarber and Harper, were neck and neck for most of the time. But I think the kid from Cincinnati won, or St. Louis,
Or
kid from St.
Jordan
Louis,
Walker from St. Louis.
Jordan Walker, I
Walker,
believe
yeah.
his name is. Yeah, I believe he won
Yeah.
Yep.
at the last second. He did some magenta rule or something like that they had thrown in, and he did it on the last at bat and won the whole thing. And I think he got booed by the Philadelphia fans, which
Of
isn't a
course.
surprise, because he beat Schwarber, I believe, had finally made the finals. So. And we talked about this a little bit before, but Lee, when you see these All-Star games now and compare it back to the old days, I just don't think it has the same chutzpah. It just doesn't have
No.
anything to it.
No.
What's your take on that?
Let me add something about the guy who won the home run derby. He played for Springfield in Double-A. Of course, he would come to Amarillo, and he got to the Amarillo ballpark, and he must have hit 10 homers in a 6-game series here. The one year he played here, he could bash a baseball. So I can understand him winning the home run derby. He was about 6'5", about 220, and he could hit a baseball. Yeah, it's not really the same, I mean, I was always a National League fan. I always remember back in the years when the National League won like 10 or 12 in a row between in the 60s and the 70s before it changed a little bit. But it doesn't have the same aura. I can't figure out what the difference is. All wearing their same uniforms or not wearing their same uniforms, whatever they decide they want to do with the game to hype it up. I was surprised, though, that with ESPN having all the MLB baseball, I can't figure out why they would put it on Netflix. I mean, do you think it really generated that much revenue for them extra? I don't understand.
I think it actually hurt the sport. I
Yeah.
really don't like it when they
Yeah.
have, the NFL plays with stuff like that. They'll put games on different networks, different streaming networks and things. And Bo, have you seen that improves anything?
No, it's you remember who was it that well, the NFL talks about this too. I guess
Think we lost Bo. I'll turn it to Kevin. Kevin, do you think that boosts anything when you go to these different streaming networks for?
Oh, yeah,
I
of
mean,
course.
you like that?
No.
No. I mean, it's a time suck, I think, and you get to a point where you get a lot of people that don't get to see it. I mean, I do have Netflix. I just saw that it was on there, but I didn't watch the whole thing. Whereas normally I probably would have tuned in and watched if it was on a regular network. But Coach K, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it definitely. I agree with Kevin. It definitely hurts it. I mean, the fact is, I didn't even know it was on. So the
Yeah.
fact is, if you don't have, I have Netflix, but I don't look at it every day. I don't, I don't spend a lot of time because there's not a lot of other than movies. That's what I use it for,
Right.
and that's an anomaly. I mean, the fact you put it on something like that, you know, I could see it on Prime. I could see it on something other than Netflix because Prime does football. But no, I think it's a definite loser proposition.
Yeah, but it goes along with everything else that we've talked ad nauseum about in sports. Everything's about the almighty dollar, and I don't know I don't know how it's going to be sustained. How it's just going to continually do this. I almost sense I have this impending sense of doom with both college sports and professional sports that at some point it's going to boil over and the fans are going to say that's enough. We're just not going to do it anymore. I don't know what else to say about that. It's kind of frustrating to me.
It's, it's all going to come to pay for play. I mean, it's headed that way. I mean, and the whole thing. I just look at the market value. It's all about making money. Right now, the big thing in Major League Baseball is, you know, salary. Are they going to put a salary cap in? And it's about market value. Fitting the small market teams against a big market, L.A., Yankees, Philadelphia, compared to Tampa, which I think is funny right now because two of the small market teams are
Playing
leading.
really well.
Yeah, Milwaukee and Tampa are leading their divisions fairly substantially. Tampa's beating the Yankees by three games right now. So, uh, it's about the owners trying to make more money, and again, uh, they've got the tax in there. If you're a large market team like Los Angeles, you're paying almost $200 million in tax penalty to keep that payroll like it is. It doesn't make sense to me. I mean, uh, Major League Baseball right now, kind of. I was going to throw the question out to everybody. Like, how do you really see the game of Major League Baseball changing in the last 10 years?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not the game that I remember
Not at all.
in my memory, I guess.
It's not for me, and I know Kevin, you and I have talked about on this show before about the toughness factor. About how back in the day, somebody would slide into second to break up a double play or barrel over a catcher, or I know we've talked a lot about memories of the old tough days, but the football is that way too.
It's all that way.
Yeah.
It's all go through the motions come All Star Game.
Yeah. And we talked about the NFL All Star Game being basically a flag football game now. It's not even a real football game. I don't know. None of it is anything that I like and I like to remember. To your point, Coach K, baseball is not the same game. You don't see pitchers really
It's
pitching.
become, you talk about home run derby.
Yeah.
That's baseball today. I mean, the fact, when was the last time you saw a hit and run?
Hardly ever.
Or butt.
Nobody even knows what a hit and run is.
No. And I saw something interesting in the Japanese league or the Korean league for the All Star Game. They have skills contests, which I think is pretty cool. But one of the things they do, and I know bunts, yawn, right? They have a bunting contest, and they have like a big target down the third base or first base side that the players have to try to hit a bunt to roll and land in a certain spot for a higher grade, grade or something.
I have to tell
I
you,
think
funny
stuff like that's cool.
I have to tell you something funny. You're talking about this. I record Japanese baseball game every night, and I watch it when I can have a chance to do it. And I just was watching one, and it's like old time baseball. It's 1-1 in the 8th or 9th inning. Team got a team. One of the teams got a runner on, and every time they get a runner on, they bunt them over. They may not score the run eventually, but they play small ball way more than anybody does now. But it was the norm, or at least part of the game back 10, I'd say more than 15 years ago.
Absolutely. And I go back to, I think the manager in Major League Baseball that really changed the concept was Earl Weaver. He used to talk about how he'd rather have a 3-run homer than giving up an out. He says, you only get 3 outs. Why do I want to give up one?
I've heard that several times.
Yeah. And so, they would go a whole year with, 1 or 2 sacrifice bunts. It just didn't happen for them. And I think the whole mindset of Major League Baseball kind of changed throughout the years with everybody, chicks love the long ball, and so that's kind of where it went to.
On the other side, pitching. How many complete games have you seen this year?
None.
I can tell you that there are 10 complete games out of over 1,000 games played.
10.
And you had
only 86
pitchers that would have 20 or 30 of them back in the 60s and early 70s.
Only 86 times has a pitcher gone beyond 7 innings.
Oh, man.
In 1,000
games. So frustrating. Well, we talked about it, I think, last show, where we had a pitcher that had a perfect game going, and they took him out. And not only did it almost cost the team the game, but they gave up 5 runs.
Yeah.
Surely, his no-hitter was gone. It's so disappointing.
All the matrix and stuff.
So disappointing to me.
It's changed so dramatically. I like it. It's fun. It's I still enjoy it, but it's definitely not the same as what I remember 10, 15 years ago, where there was small ball.
Yes.
Stolen bases, hit and run, different things.
Well, a couple of things have happened in Major League Baseball recently. I know Justin Verlander just retired, and he was really the last, in my mind, of the throwback type pitchers. He was a all guts type of pitcher. I always enjoyed watching him perform, but we talked about him. I was surprised that he even signed. I guess he wanted to finish his career up there in Detroit where he started it, but he had a rough year and was injured, and I think he just said no mas. But any fond memories of Justin Verlander, anybody?
Well, I was going to say he must not have played coach, and I blame it all on travel ball. You got, especially the pitching deal. You've got limits in Little League Baseball. Of course, they don't want to ruin their arms or throw curveballs before they're like 12 or 13. I mean, these kids are playing. They've got kids going to the clinics up here that have rotator cuff injuries when they're 11 or 12 years old from playing 4 travel ball, and it's year round. I've never seen anything.
It is.
The saddest thing, the parents are paying like 20. Coach, you've seen this, $25,000 a year. Of course, you do it over 5 or 6 years. I guess it's equivalent of a college scholarship. But I mean, maybe 1 in 10 of these kids is going to get a college scholarship.
If that, that's probably high.
It's just
and it's not
pitch
just
count is the rule.
Yep,
yeah, it's not just in baseball. I know, Kevin, you probably see it in AAU basketball. They're paying a lot of money to play that AAU basketball all over the country. Um, uh, so I'm sure
You know,
you've
the
got some
state of
stories
Texas.
about that.
Kevin will remember Gary Hicks, longtime baseball coach, Amarillo High, Lubbock, I think Lubbock, Monterey, I believe, or Coronado, one of the Lubbock schools. I had a conversation with him one time, and he said that Texas high schools would eventually probably adopt a pitch count, which they did. And he
Mm-hmm.
said he blamed his troubles on summer travel baseball with
Yep.
his
Yep.
players because
Year round.
he couldn't control them because there's nobody to tell that manager or that travel ball league to take the kid out whenever he wants to. Just let him keep throwing. So I thought it was fascinating because I joked when I retired. I said I want to be the guy that goes to the baseball game down the street from me at Amarillo High. I live about 2 blocks from there. I want to be the guy I want to be the guy marking down the pitch count for both teams. Make a little extra money, watch baseball.
Well, I know a lot of colleges now on the basketball side pay attention to the AAU games, and but it's not just basketball. You see it in volleyball, you see it in soccer. In fact, a lot
Track
of
and
these
field.
kids, they don't even care about their high school teams anymore. They care about their club teams, and that's where a lot of the scouts go. Do you see that in the NBA and in college basketball, Kevin?
I haven't seen really anything significant other than I worked Matt Doherty's camp. Oh, I'm going to say the last year he was at SMU. And there was a parent there who this guy played for Jim Valvano at North Carolina State, and then he transferred to Northwestern, and he had a son that was a phenomenal, I guess you would say, prospect. And the kid wasn't even playing for his high school team. He was playing for the AAU team and going all over the country playing in games. I cannot recall if the kid ever played anywhere in college, but I was told he was being recruited by some heavy colleges. I can't recall if he did or didn't, but I found that interesting because I was thinking it's only going to be a matter of time before high schools are just insignificant. In other words, let's say hypothetically, take Amarillo, Texas, since Lee and I both have a background in Amarillo. The good players aren't going to be playing for Amarillo High or Amarillo Tascosa or Amarillo Palo Duro. Amarillo will form its AAU team, and they'll go play all over the state and whatnot, and they'll play every other night if they have to, against this good, strong competition. The high schools will be left with nothing.
I read a
And
story.
again, you see it. Yeah, go ahead, Lee.
It's since we're in this World Cup thing. I think there was recently in the last 2-3 years an article written about that is the case with a lot of the Dallas Fort Worth area high school soccer teams. That all
Absolutely.
the really good players, none of them are on their teams. They're all doing something else.
They're all playing club ball. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're all.
I feel bad that I can't even remember who the kicker is for the Dallas Cowboys.
Kevin Aubrey. Yeah.
But the guy from Plano, and he's their place kicker and field goal kicker. When he first came up and he played for Plano High, I did a lot of play-by-play of Plano High games, and I couldn't recall him ever playing anywhere. And so I called their coach, a guy named Jadon McCullough, and asked him, did he play? I can't remember him. And he said to me, no, he played soccer.
Quit the team.
And I said, well, he played soccer for Plano High School? And he said, no, he never played for Plano High School. He played for some AAU team. And so that's why we didn't even know who, at least I didn't even know who he was.
Yeah. Do you see that in Colorado too, Coach K?
Yeah, it's prevalent everywhere. When I left Oklahoma, all the players that we had that were getting recruited were basically recruited during the summer by AAU, and they had the elite. If you could make one of the 2 or 3 elite squads, elite AAU teams, you were pretty well locking yourself up to get a scholarship somewhere. And it holds true up here as well. I mean, the fact, even here in Western Colorado, where, it's still kind of a small town atmosphere and everything. AAU basically rules. I mean, that's the one that, everything is based on what they've done in the summer. And a lot of it overlaps into the season at school. So, but AAU takes preference. It's the priority. I mean, it's the one that's going to get the parents are paying big bucks
Big bucks.
to get their kids on elite AAU squads.
Get noticed. Get noticed. Well, speaking of getting noticed, Major League Baseball did just have their draft. And Bo, what can you tell us that was interesting in the draft?
Well, Rock Chalowski, the great shortstop from UCLA, was first. He was finalist 2 years for the Dick Howser Trophy. Really a wonderful, 41 home runs and 150 RBI the last 2 years.
Yeah.
He had an off year this year, only hit 323 with 18 homers and 50 or 70 RBI. But no, he was a good kid. The interesting thing about the draft now, Tom, and we talked about this on some previous shows, you can be like a fifth or sixth rounder if you go to a school, a Texas, Texas A&M, or Coach, I wish Oklahoma, they're going to try to get Skip some more money. He had to recruit 14 junior college players last year instead of the draft. Did a fantastic job. But if you're a fourth or fifth round draft, you might make more NIL money than you would from getting like a $30,000 bonus or whatever. And those kids, and now they've got the NCAA passed at 5 for 5. You can go ahead and you're eligible for 5 years from now on out. But heck, look at people like Rafael Palmeiro and Will Clark. They both went to college first or second round draft, and they like triple their draft stuff for playing in a major program. So
right.
I think a lot of people.
Bo, here's an interesting story for you. I actually talked with Billy Donovan's mother the other day. I hadn't talked to her in a while, and ever since her husband died a couple months ago, I wanted to talk to her. Well, she absolutely refuses to go to college basketball games these days because NIL has ruined it. And she's saying to me, I just don't know where this money is coming from. Well, when you're paying a kid $2.5 million to play for Florida, and then he can't even get drafted in the NBA, and if he does make the NBA team, he's going to be making substantially less. I mean, it's just bizarre. It's really nuts.
It is a bizarro world. And Lee, I think we've seen that now across the board with everybody, with basketball, baseball, football. These NIL contracts are even affecting the professional levels to some degree. So
they are definitely in competition with them right now because in fact, I read an article today that just, that Major League Baseball is going to have a difficult time signing the draftees because of the nil money. They can make as much or more and improve their draft status at the same time. And so it's a win-win situation for them. The 5x5 right now expanded that even more so. So, I was kind of shocked. Only one Oklahoma player was drafted and like in the 5th or 6th round.
Yeah. Now Texas A&M had several that were drafted.
A&M, there were quite a few, but it kind of surprised me. And then I started thinking about it. They're making more money, good money, in a nice, easy situation playing at the collegiate level. So why go through the hassle of going pro?
Probably true. But like I said, I think we're seeing this boil up into a storm that I don't know we're all going to like the outcome of it. I think it's going to change a lot of things. Let's switch up while I've got Bo on here. I wanted to talk. There's a lot of smoke coming out of Lubbock, and Kevin and Lee, you could talk about Texas Tech going to the ACC. What do you think about that? Do you think that's going to happen?
They've got to hurry it up because this Save College Sports Act is supposedly going to limit any major conference movement in future year. I don't know. It's sitting there. It's been going through the Senate and Congress and the House for like 6 months now or whatever. But if that happens, one of the deals in it is you cannot pirate teams out of another conference. So that's going to be that could put a stop. But I mean, if it happens before then, it's wide open.
Have you guys been hearing about that? You don't think it's
Yeah,
going to
I've
happen?
heard it.
Yeah.
But you see stuff on the internet, and you don't know if it's pure rumor or whatnot. Like today, for example, I'm scoping the internet, and I see Bill Belichick's daughter-in-law wanted by police, and
Whoopee, whoopee.
you're like, good Lord, what in the thunder did she do? And then you read a little further, and what happened was she got a speeding ticket and she didn't show up for court. So they issued, I guess, a warrant for her arrest, which is going to amount to her lawyer having to show up on her behalf. But here's the point. You see stuff on the internet, and you just don't know to what degree this is true.
Right. That's true. That's true.
Here's one
Abe
thing
Lincoln
that's true.
always said, "Don't believe everything you see on the internet." So I mean,
This has been verified. Bobby Petrino is now at North Carolina as offensive coordinator. So lock up all the cheerleaders and get the
Gosh.
motorcycles right. Don't let anybody ride any motorcycles.
oh my gosh, or give him a neck brace.
Yeah, I know.
How old would Petrino be these days?
He's
Because
like 64. He's early 60s, I think.
he got to be up there a little bit. Tom, another thing, too, I wanted to add very quickly when we were talking about AAU. I don't even know if you remember a great basketball player from the University of Alabama named Gerald Wallace.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
and Gerald Wallace played in the NBA for, good Lord, 14 years. Gerald Wallace was at a town called Childersburg, which is a little bitty town not too far from Montgomery where I was working. And I went over to do a story on Gerald Wallace. And I asked the coach, Gerald Wallace was one of the top recruits in the whole country that year. And I said to him, boy, it must be fun with people like John Thompson and Dean Smith and Rick Pitino coming in here to recruit him. And his coach said to me, I haven't met one of those guys. He said, they all go through the AAU coach. And he played for some AAU team out of Birmingham. And he said all the recruiting was done by them. And I can tell you another thing, too. I did the play-by-play for Plano West when they won the state championship. And they had 5 players who signed Division I scholarships. One went to UCLA to play football, a guy named Soso Jamabo. Another went to Ohio State. 2 went to Texas A&M and were very prominent players on A&M's team that made the Sweet 16 2 years in a row. But anyhow, their coach said the same thing to me, that, I asked him, what it's been like with all these college prospects and all the coaches coming in. He said he don't know any of those guys. He said they all go through the AAU.
Well, thanks for sharing that. That's certainly true. I think we're seeing that change come all around and everything else. Guys, I think it's time to go to our magical memories year. And when we were talking earlier, we thought we'd go to the year 1996. Bo, what's your big memory of 1996?
Like Tom, you were talking about the last Southwest Conference event, Lubbock, Texas, Rice beating Texas 15-7. And remember, I thought about President Kennedy's famous comment, why does Rice play Texas? Just to beat him in baseball, No, Tom, it was just a tumultuous time. Actually, I was down with John. You might have been there too. The day they closed the Southwest Conference, June 30th, they were having the Bob Smith Awards down in Houston. John was running executive director at that time. I came back, I boxed everything up in my office, and they came and took it to the Texas Tech archives, and now it's there's
Sitting up
the
there.
2 boxes out there that say contents of Bo Carter's desk, June 1990s. And the craziest
wild.
thing was very briefly, just long story short, 3 or 4 people from the Big 8 got guaranteed jobs when the Big 8 and the Southwest Conference merged, and the rest of us were sort of out there like, what do we do? I'm looking at employment agencies and headhunter, and the PR guy from the Big 8's wife was pregnant, and she couldn't find a job in Dallas. They're going to hire him. And so every time I see his son, who's like 30 years old, and I say, thank you for helping me get a job with the Big 12 for 10 years. So, I mean, we were just totally talk about being out in limbo. And man, the first Big 12 office was in the film and projection room at the Anatole Hotel in downtown Dallas. So later they moved us to the 28th floor suites up there, but it was really you just went day to day, hour to hour during those times.
Interesting. Lee, what do you remember about 1996?
Well, a couple of things. Cowboys, of course, started the year off winning the Super Bowl. That was one of the ones everybody that I worked around here, everybody was trying to fight to get a Super Bowl tickets to go to the game or get media passes. And I remember that we ran a contest on our TV station, and some woman won tickets. It was on ABC, I'm guessing, if I remember correctly. Anyway, they let a news reporter and a photographer go, and I didn't get to go. I was the sports director at the time. So, and the only other thing I can remember, because I'm a golfaholic, I have been all my life, Ray Norman lost the Masters, had a 6-shot lead, and Sir Nick Faldo now won it. But, Norman at one time led every major going into the last round and then didn't win it. Hardly won.
Just didn't finish the job.
So, interesting year.
Yeah. Kevin, what do you got about 1996?
Well, I was working in Montgomery, Alabama at the time, and I used to work part-time as a commercial bus driver for Trailways. And that was when they had the Olympics over in Centennial Park in Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
And I made several trips over there. I'm going to say I made 2-3 trips. Now, I was not there the day that they had the bombing.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
But that was prevalent news at the time. But I can still remember driving, people over to see the Olympics in Atlanta. And it was a bizarre deal. I mean, getting people over there to Atlanta and getting them back wasn't easy.
No, wasn't that the Olympics that Muhammad Ali lighted the flame?
Atlanta Olympics. Yep.
Yeah.
Had the flame, had the torch.
Yeah, that was incredible. Commercial bus driver. That's interesting. We'll have to explore that at some point, Kevin. That's an interesting side story in and of itself. I'm sure you have some great stories from the road.
Well, probably the best one was with L.A. Clipper coach Bill Fitch. What happened was Bill Fitch, this was after he coached at Boston. They were playing at the the Acadome in Montgomery. And I met the team at the airport to bring them to the arena. And when I was getting on, I said to Bill Fitch, Coach, this may sound a little unusual, but I not only drive a bus, I'm also a sportscaster for a local TV station, and we were going to do a live shot with you at the game if it's okay with you. And he looked at me like I was kidding him. I don't believe that. But anyhow, sure as heck, when we got there, we had a camera crew ready to go, and I shot an interview in my bus uniform with him. And Bill Fitch said to me, I've been in the league 27 years, and it's taken me 27 years to find the guy who drives the bus to the game, then turns around and does the sports for the local TV station. And then he said something, I never knew if this was an insult or not, but he said, you must be Irish. And I didn't know if that was a compliment, an insult. I just didn't know, but he did the interview. And, who was it? That great guard who was the coach of the Hawks for a long time.
Lenny Wilkins or
Lenny Wilkins.
Lenny Wilkins, yeah.
Lenny Wilkins was doing the other, we had both coaches join us, and Lenny Wilkins was there. And Lenny was laughing so hard, I didn't think he was going to be able to do the interview, but that actually happened. I was in a bus uniform doing the interviews.
That's a great magical memory. Coach K, 1996, what you got?
It's a magical year for me. I mean, that was the year that we won the state championship in Colorado, and
Wow.
went undefeated, 13-0, and it was fantastic. But a side note to that was the year that I met John Askins.
Oh, yeah.
And I actually, in roundabout way, it's when I met Bo, because I was doing an interview at a local restaurant for the local radio station, and John was sitting there in a booth, and I was there with my wife, and we got through with the interview and everything, had our dinner, and we were walking out, and this big guy followed us out, and I'm like, who the heck is this guy? I mean. And he stopped, and he just started a conversation, and that we ended up like, how would you like to do a sports talk radio
Isn't
every
that great?
night
That's
during the
very
week? And
similar to how I
I
met
thought he was
John.
crazy. I thought he was
Yeah,
absolutely pulling
yeah.
my leg. Who is this guy?
Well, he's so
And
friendly, and
no,
I
it
get
ended
it.
up,
Yeah.
being a great
Good
gig,
friend.
good
30
relationship,
years.
lots of nice contacts. Again, I look back and very grateful for the opportunity. But it was a big year. That in a way was a landmark. The state championship was great, but getting to know and getting involved in the sports news broadcasting and things like that has been one of my good things in life. I mean, I look back on it with extremely fond memories, and grateful for John giving me that chance, and getting to know you, Tom, and Bo, and like I said, getting to meet a lot of really famous people.
Yes.
It was fun. It was an exciting year.
That's fantastic story. And I met John in a similar fashion a few years before you did. But I think I told the story where we met him at a Texas Tech football game back in the early 90s, and just an incredible man, and we're bragging on you, John. So when you get to listen to this, don't let your head get too big. My magical memory from 1996 was similar to what Bo was talking about. Was the Southwest Conference baseball tournament, which was the absolute last thing that happened for the Southwest Conference, and that was held in Lubbock. And I was in Lubbock at the time, and I remember walking into the stadium, and I did a double take because at the time, Nolan Ryan was a coach for TCU. His son was pitching for TCU. And I'm
That's
walking
great.
in, and Nolan Ryan is walking right by me, and he and his wife, Ruth. And I just struck up a conversation because that's what I do. And he was just as nice as could be. He offered to let me go in. I sat with Ruth during the whole tournament, and it was just a magical time. He signed some stuff for me just because I had to ask him to sign some stuff. It was Nolan Ryan, and he was. Yeah, it's kind of violating a media thing, I know, but it was. It was. He didn't mind one bit. He was really cool
Good
about it.
guy.
But it was so nice. And the other thing that I remember from that tournament, I was telling you guys off camera, I believe his son was pitching for TCU, and in the 9th inning of a game, he was put in with 2 outs, and there was a runner on first. And before he threw a pitch, he picked the runner off first. And so he never threw a pitch. And they came back in the bottom of the 9th, scored enough to take the lead and win the game. So he was the winning pitcher of record without ever having thrown a pitch. And I don't think in all my years of watching baseball over the last 50 plus years that I've ever seen that at any level of baseball, from little league all the way up to the major leagues. I don't know if any of y'all have ever seen anything like that, but that was crazy. That was absolutely crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's kind of like being a bus driver and interviewing famous NBA players. It was crazy. It was absolutely nuts. Well, those were some great memories. We're actually getting up to a point where we need to go to scattershooting. So, Bo, while I've got you here, what's your scattershooting for the week?
I'll make it brief. I apologize. You guys will love this. After the call's over, I got to talk to somebody. Collegiate Softball Writers Association wants to start a National Collegiate Softball Writers Association.
Nice.
Sister institution of the National Collegiate Baseball Writers Association.
Very cool.
Any way to get some more dues and some more, they can have the Dick Hauser Trophy or the whoever Lynn Dunn Trophy or something. But no, that it's been a great summer. Hard to believe last week the Big 12 had its football media days. So that, I mean, earliest in history. They signed some $50 million contract with Monster Energy. They're going to have a Monster patch on one side, and then the schools get to pick their own patch for the. It's
like Oklahoma State's going with a casino or something, I think.
I
Yeah.
know, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And this
all
is
the hypocrisy that we've talked about.
this is what's so hard. This is
Uh,
what's so hard to digest. But anyway, and I read one last Scattershooting. Kentucky's coach will love this. Kentucky's men's basketball NIL payroll is going to be $18 million for 14 players this year.
Wow.
If they don't win the national championship, the coach should be fired probably. But
Well,
anyway.
that's one of those revolving door type of programs anyway. If they don't win it all, their fans are just totally, beside themselves. Lee Baker, what's your scatter shooting this week?
We were talking about this earlier, but we never got to this part of the subject matter about Major League Baseball. And I just want to say that on July the 4th, every Major League Baseball game, none of them were on over-the-air TV. You had to have anywhere from 1 to 3 subscriptions to watch the games. Even if you have MLB TV through ESPN, you could not watch your home team play or anybody else. You had to go to Peacock. Peacock carried every game. And I'm going, it's July 4th. It's an America pastime for some of us. Some of us it isn't. But I'm going, we're really, on July 4th, we're not going to show one baseball game on TV. And no one did. And
That's absolutely awful and sad. I've been meaning to ask you also, we haven't gotten to talk about the Corn Ferry tournament up in Amarillo. How did that go?
Oh, it was wonderful. They had a record crowd their first day. It had like over 7,000 people. Of course, half of them were following John Daly II, who was here playing, and they were hoping that Daddy would show up, but he was in a tournament. He never showed up. But overall, it was very successful, and we got, in 4 days of the tournament, we got 3 seasons of weather. So they got what will probably be the lowest score ever shot for a winning event this year, because one day the wind blew 35 to 40. One day they woke up and it was below, it was like in the 50s. So they got a little bit of everything, and it didn't play very, but one day was really good and they all went really low, but they got 3 different kinds of weather in 4 days.
Wow.
Made it
Well,
interesting.
I'm glad that tournament came through there. Is it going to continue? Is that going to be an annual thing?
5-year
Good.
contract.
Good. Kevin, what's your scatter shooting?
I'll tell you what, you got me thinking while we were talking about interviewing the Clippers coach. Probably the most amusing thing of the evening actually happened at the end of the evening, because what happened, I wanted to get a couple of quick interviews with Clipper players for the news the next day. And I'm not going to say the Clippers PR person was a witch. So let's say she was real, no nonsense and abrupt. And she just looked at me and she said, no, there's no way we're going to be shooting any interviews. She said, we're getting on that bus, we're getting out to the airport, and they had a private plane that was going to take them back to Los Angeles, so there won't be any interviews. And I looked at her and said, well, it just so happens I'm the guy driving the bus out to the airport, and as soon as I get a few interviews, I'll go start the bus.
You had them for ransom there. That's I love it.
That was what I remember the most about that night.
That's incredible. All right, Coach K, what's your scatter shooting for the week?
Hey, it's an exciting week. A lot of things going on, but one thing that's getting me all getting going is pro football training camp starts this week. On the 17th, they're going to have Seattle have the rookie camp, and the veterans in a week, I think 10 days later, and then followed very shortly by San Francisco. So pro football is just around the corner. The pre-NFL games are next, starting mid next month. So I'm excited about that. It's that time of year, even though, I look at the thermometer, it's 110 here today. Miserable. Not a day to go outside. I can't imagine training camp at 110, but no, pro football just around the corner. And it's an exciting time, getting to see your favorite teams and how they're going to turn out and how the rookies that they drafted turn out. It's that good time. It's that time of the year.
It is. We're getting close to having our football prediction for both college and pro. That'll probably be coming up here in the next couple of weeks on one of our episodes. All right, for my scatter shooting, I'm going to go to a little more of a somber tone. They recently had the College Baseball Hall of Fame elections, and one of the members that got elected was a player, David McCarty, who got a world championship, I believe, in 2004 with the Red Sox, I believe. He got elected. He played at Stanford. Had a stellar career at Stanford and had a pretty long major league career. And the reason why I'm mentioning this, he passed away in 2024 tragically, a little early in life. But his mother bowls with my dad. And so I had this connection to David McCarty kind of vicariously through that. And I wanted to give a shout out because I know Ms. McCarty is very proud of what her son accomplished and also very sad that he passed away. So kudos to the McCarty family getting a Hall of Famer from Stanford. I promised my dad I would mention that, and I am duly doing that. Also want to give a shout out to my grandson, Wells. It's his 4th birthday today. So happy birthday, Wells.
All right.
Folks, we're out of time today, but I want to tell you we had an outstanding show. Guys, for Lee, Kevin, Bo Carter, and Coach K, I'm Tom Russo. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you next week. You guys have a great week.
See everybody later.
Thanks for joining us for this edition of Sports USA, available at our website at sportswithaz-usa.com. And remember to click and favorite so you can join us next time on sportsusa.com.